that 1965, being friends with Bill Holtz, he's up there working trophies emerald, trophies air. I'm not sure if Jade was there as a weanling yet. I helped him haul a couple of those horses in from the Switzerland farm. I remember Jade come in there as a baby. Geez, he was up at Bill's. He had a separate stall for him, kind of off to the side, and you walked past Trophy's Jade, you felt like something was staring at you, and you turn around and he's like this, you know. He just looking, and he was a weanling. But one of the things to finish 1965, I was a lot more familiar with trophy horses and knowing what Bill was going to do with Emerald or some of the other show horses. And Bill owned Emerald. No, sorry, D.F. Switzler owned Emerald. Bill was training it. And man, she was doing good. From the first on when he got her, she was a little bit immature when he got her as a 3-year-old. He said, this is the one. He just had that horse figured out, this is it. This is the one. And at the time, there might have been a couple other horses in his barn that you'd think, geez, well, I like this one over here better, or something. But when you brought her out and worked her and saw her move, remember she's a full sister to Jade and Air and all this. She moved like no other mare you saw, with a foot about this long and a plate, so much natural motion. Now, of course, she was out of Ruthven's Nancy Ann. So, Bill's making the big plans. He's going to show her in New England. When she was a 3-year-old, he had her down at the Mid-A, and he did very, very well with her. So, here was the fan club. Bill and his brother Don, who was the blacksmith at the time, hauled Emerald up to New England, 1965. Hal and Dolores drove up, 2 local fans, right? We knew nobody up there, 0, except the Holtzes, okay? Well, I get the map out, I get the old magazines out, and I'm seeing who we might pass on the way to Northampton. Well, there was Appleville, Red Hook, New York, and there was the Greenmeads farm up in Massachusetts. You know, from all the ads, man, these 2 places really impressed me. I liked the pictures of their horses. I liked their ads, what they wrote, this natural looking thing. So, to save money and everything, we packed a lot of ham sandwiches, roast beef sandwiches, and had big coolers and stuff so that we didn't have to go into restaurants and stuff, and we took off for New England, not knowing. The only way we knew anything was reading about people in the Morgan Horse, which we were getting for a year or 2, and knowing from ads what we liked. So we found Red Hook, New York. We went there first, and I drive back to where it was. Literally, there was nobody there. There were horses there. And didn't we drive up and down through the orchard a time or 2? And Gordon Boris come out of the house, walked over to us, and introduced himself, and I said, we're on our way. I know I always said it this way. We're on our way up to New England to see Bill Holt show trophies emerald. And naturally he knew who the Holtzes were because they were famous for the Morgans and the Switzlers. So he said, I'm going to be going up tomorrow or something. Gene and Fred are already up there already. Well, we knew who they were, but we didn't know them. And I said, oh, geez. We were hoping maybe we could see the horses. He said, well, I'll show you the horses. And he came out, took all the time in the world with us. And of course up there, the first horse he got out, the first major horse that I ever saw that wasn't in this area, he brought Pecos out. Okay, he's 23 years old, and he leads him out. Here's this old man, brings him out, stands him up and stuff. And the first time I saw Pecos, he had eyes like this. It looked like his head was sculptured. You know, he had this small, really shaped face. Wasn't real big, but he had so much presence. And he showed us Pecos. Then he said, well, let's go down the line here. And they had all those the orchards were there, but they had all those outdoor sheds and stuff. And here was Kingston, and here was Selector Windcrest with his neck, you know, fell over, and Liz Taylor, June Field. Geez, all these horses I've been reading about, you know, that never saw before, and we went up and down. I mean, this man, he probably would have spent 6 hours with us, but there wasn't anything looking, I got to get out of here, and this young couple, you know, they're wasting my time. It was so good and so friendly. It had a lot to do with the rest of the years with us, with the Morgans. And I remember saying to him, because it was a beautiful place, boy, you must sell a lot of apples up here. You know, the Applevale, there was the orchard and stuff, and he kind of chuckled a little bit. I said something like, well, what do you do to keep all this stuff going? And we got in his car. He had a four-door Cadillac there. He said, I'll show you. And we went somewhere down the road to like an office or a place, and he went in there and he was showing us these soap dishes and all this soap and different things like that. And I said, you make soap or you do this? He said, no, he makes dispensers. And those, we've all been in a place where you crank a thing like this and it peels a little soap off. Well, he invented that or something. Well, we were leaving, we're on our way. I mean, you know, this was the perfect day. Nobody ran us off. Nobody said, who in the hell are those two young people? What do they know about a horse? So, we have the map there. We're going to Greenmeads. So we go up to Greenmeads, and you know, you get that part of the country. Everybody's not so far away. It isn't like crossing Pennsylvania. We went up to Greenmeads, pulled in, looking around, and Darwin Morris comes out. Nobody's at the place. I know lots of names of their horses up there. I explained to him we're from Westford, Pennsylvania, friends of D.F. Switzler's and the Holtz family. We're going to New England to see Bill Holtz show Emerald. You know, that was about the extent of the famous horse that we saw in person, knew anything about. And I love your ads, and I was hoping that maybe I could see some of those great mares and stuff that you advertise. And he said, well, everybody's up at the show but me. Let's go to the barn. He took us to the barn, and we were walking up and down inside that beautiful woodwork. All those stalls, the way they were finished, nameplates on the stall. I believe he got Windcrest Ben Davis out, showed us, walked out into the fields, showed us some of the mares, took us to the upper field. We had to get in the car and from the main place go up on the side of the hill or the mountain where they had horses up there. Same deal. Glad to see you. Hope to run into you up at the show. I mean, you know, how could it be any better than that? And, well, back to over at Appleville, he said, definitely when you're up the show, go introduce yourself to Gene and Fred. So we go on up to the show, and we've never saw anything that big in our life, you know. And so we're walking around, we're looking at everything, and even D.F. Switzler, he said if you get a chance up there, try to meet Bob Baker, okay? We're just doing what he told us to do. So I had a chance, I got to talk to Bob Baker for a little bit, and as soon as you would say, hey, we have a good friend, D.F. Switzler or Holtz, they knew them well, naturally, and we were walking around, we ran into Fred and Gene, they had a nice setup, went over and said, hey, we were just over at Red Hook, and he told us to stop and see you, and of course, they've always been pleasant from day one. I never ever ran into either one that it wasn't worthwhile. And let's face it, most of the time, we used to see them once a year maybe at the Mid-A. If we'd go to New England, we'd see them at Mid-A and New England. And we said we're here to see Trophies, Emerald, and Bill. Of course, you know, years later how that worked out. But that was it. And Bill Holt said to me he wanted me to, both of us to look at horses and watch this, watch that. He said, when you're up here and get a chance to watch Joe Parker, pay attention to Joe Parker. Well, that was the year that they had a protest with Bay State Gallant, if I have the name right, a shoeing protest. And he brought Superman in as the substitute horse. This is up in New England. And they ran away with that. Superman, all you heard from when they started showing him Chesley Superman. Man, he was in there, this big dark horse, passing everybody, you know, the Nocturne horses were going like this, and the Superman horse was going like that, and, you know. So, we got the chance to watch Joe Parker at his best, had a chance to meet him, talk to him a little bit. Bill Holtz went up there with Trophies, Emerald, this chestnut filly among a lot of bays and other things, and she cleaned house. She won everything she was in. No contest, running away with it. I don't know if you ever saw her when Bill Holtz had her, because that's when you had to see her. Just like a machine, she came in, she did it. And what are we talking, 40-some years later, people, when they refer to the really top-notch park horses, her name's on the list right there up front. So natural. So, when I came home from New England, I was speaking a different language. Okay, I went up there speaking trophies award, Switzler and Holtz's. Well, I was coming back saying Wasika, Upway, Ben Dawn, Flyhawk, Fleetwing, all these names that I really never saw in my life. But these were, well, UVM, I knew that one, but it was, I had such a charge out of that. Now when I read the magazine or looked at something, I can say I saw them in person.